Stop overthinking anime. This is a sentiment I've heard repeated over and over again since I've started making videos on YouTube. Stop overthinking anime. You're looking too deep into it. These are just fan service shows made for nerds, escapist daydreams for middle-aged salarymen, self-indulgent power fantasies for teenagers. They don't deserve critical attention. They're trash. You're looking for something that isn't there. And worst of all, you're being super cringe, dude. All these comments made me reflect on myself, because I used to think this way too. I used to make fun of people who overanalyzed anime. I always hated the cringy weebs that try to treat dumb harem shows like they were masterpieces. I was frustrated that people were wasting their time talking about generic crap when they could be watching something actually good. They were diminishing the achievements of truly great anime. If every cookie-cutter show is special and unique and nuanced and deep, then nothing is. Those words lose all meaning. Do we need a billion YouTubers circle jerking over Yuri bait with tubas when there's no one talking about Gemma Taisei? If these idiots could only spare like 6 hours to watch the entirety of Giant Robo, then they'd know what true art was. You know, I still gotta believe that. And damn, that was a good OVA. Oh, that scene with the horse that transforms into a monk and spins his beads in the air and the blue lady jumps through them. My god, that was badass. But I digress. If I wanted to gush about the Wagnerian anime opera that is Giant Robo, we'd be here all day. Point is, reading all these comments and responses made me realize how much I had grown, and it was so gradual I never even noticed it. I never thought of myself as someone who's over-analytical, but when you look at it, I kind of fit my own definition now. So what changed my mind on this subject? How did I go from a condescending jerk who scoffs at seasonal anime to someone who makes videos on the narratology of cute girls camping? And is there such a thing as overthinking anime after all? Well, first and foremost, the biggest factor has been education. In the years since, I've read a lot of books and taken classes and had the chance to talk to professional critics, professors, and animators. Now, this isn't some noble undertaking out of the love of art or anything. I just figured academic study was, frankly speaking, a way to one-up the other anime elitists I was friends with and feed my own ego. But instead, it's humbled me and made me reconsider a lot of things. My decades spent learning about anime production and sakuga, memorizing voice actresses and directors, it all pales in comparison to how deep subjects like film editing or story structure can be. And when you learn the intricacies of these crafts, writing, animation, etc., you come to appreciate a layer of hidden detail and execution in even seemingly mundane anime. The forgettable rom-com Mikakunin de Shinkoke had a fantastic sense of color composition with a lot of specific triadic palettes. Big crowd pleaser Re:Zero had this beautifully constructed B-plot, utilizing what's known as chiastic story structure. For all the flaws I can pick from these shows, I can't help but appreciate their rare finesse, because even in high-budget or highly respected anime, a lot of these techniques are not all that common. Now I realize that creativity isn't reserved just for high-minded art or classic anime. This isn't to say that every single anime is worth looking into, but that a worthy anime might come from anywhere. Sometimes talented people do choose to work on exploitation and pandering crap. The choice of goals don't determine how well made an anime is. There are terrible fanservice anime that fail at being erotic, and there are fanservice anime made with precision in animation and writing that succeed and give millions of people toothbrush fetishes. Even for those people that find the content appalling, the inventive techniques a show like that uses to meet its ends are worth studying. To quote recently deceased critic Roger Ebert, a movie is not about what it is about. It is about how it is about it. In other words, what determines the quality or complexity of a work isn't its goal, but what it does in order to achieve that aim. We can all get on the soapbox and dictate what kind of art is good for society and all that. Everyone has a different opinion, but if you're trying to learn about anime and you want to appreciate the craftsmanship of anime, you can't draw an arbitrary distinction between genres, between what's worth dissecting and what's pointless dribble. Instead, you must look at what an anime is trying to do and how well it accomplishes that on its own terms. When we look at film, for example, some of the most critically acclaimed, visual storytelling in recent years has been in Michael Bay movies. Now, most critics personally dislike his movies. Transformers 8, Megatron's butthole isn't exactly Bergman, but they can agree his work is worth analyzing. His vapid goals don't invalidate the lessons we can learn from him about cinematography. Same goes for anime. The isekai genre, for example, seems repetitive and dull at first, but Japanese commentators have posited that it's a cultural response to the feelings of disenfranchisement many Japanese men go through. How true that is, I'm not sure, and I don't think it makes isekai any less dull and repetitive of a genre, but it's a topic that I've discussed at length with some of the most educated anime fans I know, and certainly worth looking into. Passing judgment is one thing. You can dislike an anime for what it's trying to do, but to say that because you disagree with the anime's intended purpose, there's nothing to be gained from looking at it critically, that's a stretch. I don't think that drinking soda is very healthy, but I can still appreciate the engineering miracle that is the aluminum beverage can. Unless you look for them, these layers will remain hidden. Sometimes, the sweetest bubblegum music is really a cry for help. If you dismiss them all as just being shallow, frivolous, and not worth looking into, you might not notice the warning signs until it's too late. Furthermore, the most sophisticated works and the most pandering cash grabs often utilize the same storytelling techniques. If my goal was to teach an audience about, say, anticipation in animation, it's far better to use something popular they're already familiar with, piggybacking off of pre-existing knowledge to get a point across. In that sense, those dumb Rick and Morty philosophy videos are actually a genius teaching tool. So quote-unquote overthinking things can have a useful educational purpose as well. A lot of people so critical of overthinking anime are ironically huge anime fans, and I understand how they feel. Really, they don't want anime polluted by annoying eggheads and people taking it so seriously. That might just ruin the fun. How can you joke around and have fun with stuff when there's an anal retentive nerd in the corner always trying to make it all serious? And some of them just don't want to break the illusion and realize their favorite characters were just carefully crafted constructs of age-old plot devices and generic personality traits put together by a marketing team. Knowledge sucks sometimes. I'd be much happier if I could forget that I was cucked by some dumb bleached hair Chad who fondles other men for a living. Seriously, what is she seeing him? But point is, not everyone wants to know what's in a hot dog, and that's absolutely fine. Enjoy anime how you want, but at the same time, don't dictate to others exactly how anime must be enjoyed. The beauty of fiction is that it's open to interpretation and can be appreciated in many different ways. And if you don't like to think, there's always Reddit. Now, does that mean I'm a fan of all the YouTubers who talk about the symbolism and depth of Sword Art Online? No, of course not. But my perspective on them has changed. I dislike them not because they're overthinking anime, but because they're not really thinking at all. They aren't overanalyzing shows, they're just analyzing badly. Instead of doing research, looking for citations or strong examples, they're projecting their own views onto these shows and fitting evidence to a pre-made conclusion. In fact, I'd argue there's nothing profound or cerebral about looking for symbols and themes. All art contains metaphors, and digging for them is something humans are instinctively good at. Society would not function if we didn't use figurative representations as shorthands for ideas. Symbols are commonplace. Even language is nothing but a set of icons to be interpreted, after all. If anything, I'd argue this kind of analysis is the most rudimentary. That's why they teach it to you in grade school. Still, I will defend the intent of these people. There's nothing wrong with what they're trying to do. They're just doing it poorly, and I believe they can improve in the future. In essence, there's really no such thing as overthinking anime. But there is such a thing as poor analysis, and it's important not to conflate the two. Even fanservice shows made for nerds, escapist daydreams for middle-aged salarymen, and self-indulgent power fantasies for teenagers can reveal something crucial about culture, about technique, or about ourselves. Perhaps not every single anime will, upon inspection, harbor some deep secret about the world, but there is something to be gained from breaking down almost anything. No anime should be dismissed on the basis of its genre or purpose. Nothing is above criticism. Nothing is below it, either. So don't stop overthinking anime. Instead, stop creating arbitrary divisions between which anime deserve to be studied and which don't. Stop assigning quality judgment to anime based on how much you agree with its message, and stop judging people based on what anime they like rather than what they have to say about them. The worth of an opinion is not based on what it concerns, it's in the argument. So write that autistic video essay on your favorite shonen anime. Compose a cringeworthy poem to your beloved waifu. Take your middle school understanding of social studies and apply it to Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Chances are they'll suck, and you'll have lots of room for improvement. But don't let fear of being wrong ever keep you from trying.